Hey, how's it going? This is Jay, and we're here. This is the Dragons Outpost, a Nerd Colony production, and right to my left is Neshma. Say hi.
Hi.
How you doing today?
Good.
All right. Well, today we are starting a new series of video productions where we're going to talk about D&D. Now, myself, in my history, I've been a gamer for like 30 plus years, and I haven't really gotten into D&D. I've played a few sessions here and there, but I'm not really familiar with 5th edition. And this is the reason why I have Neshma with me, is to help me kind of guide me into 5th edition. But in doing so, hopefully this will help the audience get a more of a better idea of what 5th edition has to offer and what 5th edition, how it's different from other editions. And then we can put in our information about, how, my experiences have contributed and Neshma's experience as a DM have contributed. So like, you're a DM, you're also a player,
yes.
Right? I don't see very many women represented as DMs, which I think is amazing. I think it's great that we have female representation as DMs, because honestly I think they can create better stories. They know how to articulate and so without going into too much detail, how did you get into the DM role as a player?
Knowing D&D, I've known it for a few years, but as a player I've only been playing it for a year and a half, and then DMing for only a year. So I pretty much spent 3-4 months playing, and then I was just like, I want to jump on being a DM, to be the story creator.
Okay. Now in D&D, I know there are modules, and the modules help you help guide you. Do you like where the module kind of gives you a framework of how the adventure is going to go, and do you find yourself kind of going off script a lot of times?
The campaigns, they give you pretty much a structure of like, this is where you start, this is like how it builds up, and then this is like the final boss fight. It gives also a ton of leeway to branch off and do other things as well.
Of course. Yeah. Now, being someone that's from the old school, right? I teach game design, and as part of teaching game design, I talk a lot about history. Now, D&D itself as a game started way back in 1974, where it was released at Gen Con with 1,000 copies. That's amazing. And we had Gary Gygax, Dave Arneson, and we have those guys coming in and making this new game, kind of in the line of an older game called Kriegspiel. Now, Kriegspiel was kind of a war game, and how Kriegspiel kind of evolved was that they kind of split into two different factions. There was like Free Kriegspiel, and then there was Rigid Kriegspiel. And Rigid Kriegspiel was more about numerical, which is cool, and this is what a lot of video games are based around. But Free Kriegspiel kind of goes in more of the role-playing route, right? Where you have these like big, huge maps in the middle of like a huge conference table, and they're using these big, huge like shuffleboard, things to push around like the armies. That is Free Kriegspiel, where there's no real numbers except for the pieces on the board, but you have a referee that's kind of guiding, because the referee kind of knows what's going on around the area. They know weather patterns, they know conditions of terrain, they know all that stuff, and their knowledge comes into how a battle may play out. That's how Free Kriegspiel kind of evolved. But then you have that as it moves around. Now you have D&D, which is kind of like the nth degree of where that is going. But it brings in this kind of luck element using dice and, like a system, right? So over the years, D&D has evolved from first edition, went to, second edition, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, third edition, 3.5 edition, 3.5, fourth edition, and fifth edition. And so, Neshma, tell me about D&D fifth edition, because right now, I'm looking at this right now, there's a player's handbook, which all players should have when they start the game. But I'll be honest, it's very intimidating. There's a lot of things that are here, and I am very, very, very lazy. Let's be honest. So I want to know what's going on without having to read all the book. Do I have to read the whole book?
No, you do not have to read the whole book. Basically, there's only a few pages that you need to know.
Okay.
But other than that, you don't really need to know the whole thing.
Well, I see a lot of tabs here, and this is the sign of a well-used book. Just shows that you're really, really passionate about D&D.
Yeah.
The handbook actually shows you kind of an overview of all of the characters you can be. Now, how do you start off a D&D character?
Well, the first two things you have to choose is the race and class,
Okay.
which is pretty straightforward.
We'll get into the races and the classes in other videos, but in this case right here, we're just going to give a general overview of what's going on. Is there anything else you want to tell me about about D&D as far as like getting people prepared? Like, they need a character sheet, right?
Yes, you can actually find the character sheet online for free completely. There's also one at the back of the player's handbook that you can make a copy of so you don't have to tear it out so it doesn't ruin the book at all. Most of the stuff you can find in the player's handbook you can find online as well. There is a basic version of the player's handbook free of charge as a PDF. You can find just the basic know-how, what you need to know.
Well, I'm really, really glad that we're able to like talk to Neshma here, because this gives you a nice little introduction to her and gives the audience something to look forward to. So this ends our segment for our D&D first video. Yes, and so we're really excited to get into everything, and we're going to get Neshma to talk a little bit more. So this is Jay and
Neshma,
and we're signing out. This is Dragon Colin, and we're signing off. This is Dragon Outpost. That's what it is. Okay, so we're signing out. This is Dragon's Outpost, signing out. Oh boy, let's do that again. This is Jay.
and Neshma.
And this is Dragon's Outpost, a Nerd Colony production, signing off. See ya. We should probably have a tagline.